this thing just came out of nowhere. This was really a fluke. When this first started coming, like when this first went down, I was starting a band with Steve Gorman, which is the drummer for the Black Crowes. And I was just starting to work with a bass player and just going into the process of thinking, okay, putting a new band together. Not necessarily a snake pit, wasn't real, just starting to get into writing and rehearsing and all that when Randy died and Matt came to me and asked if I wanted to jam at the benefit for Randy's family. And then all of a sudden this whole thing started. And everybody had their own things going. And Duff was in Seattle. Scott was still in SDP. We had no idea we were going to go there. And everybody just dropped everything that they were doing. Duff rented a house out here in LA, and we just focused on this thing. Duff's always been a really unique, great sounding bass player. He's always had a certain kind of chops that most bass players don't have. And Matt's always, obviously the first time I ever saw Matt was what made me decide to get him into Guns N' Roses, when I fucking lost all hope for finding a drummer after Steve Adler. He just caught my ear as being one of the most amazing drummers I'd ever heard. It was at Universal Amphitheater with the Cult, and this was way before Steve was out of the band. And when that happened, I started looking for drummers, and it blew my mind. You take it for granted that everybody who plays instruments, they're all over the place. You take it for granted, but the good ones are so few and far between. I was just a little bit too young and inexperienced to know. I've been actually learning about chemistry and learning about players and what works and what doesn't, and how hard it is to find the right people over all these years. Anyway, so I'd seen Matt, and I think it was like a year later, Steve got kicked out, and I was like, who is the best drummer that's alive? Doesn't care if he's in a band or not, that I've seen. I remembered Matt. So that's how that happened. Anyway, so when Guns N' Roses was doing its thing, Matt was handed a lot of already written material. Me and Duff had already established the chemistry, and then the band split up. Matt was always one of my favorite drummers after that. I mean, we played together a lot, but me and Duff and Matt hadn't been in a room together in 6 years, and we just sort of forgot how classic a thing that is, And Axl never really, he really took it for granted how great the whole four of us, or with Izzy included, how good that was, because then when it got dissected, it was like, or not really dissected, but it was torn apart. Yeah. It was like, whoa. I'm sure for him, because he hasn't been able to replace that. Anyhow, so that's what did it for me and Duff. There was a feeling, for Duff and Matt and me, there was a feeling when we walked into Mates, which is a rehearsal studio here in North Hollywood. We went in to do these songs for this gig where all of a sudden I didn't feel like just your regular Joe fucking humble guy off the street, guitar player. But as soon as we all started playing, there was like a whole real tougher than thou kind of vibe. It was weird. It was like guys in a gang getting together, It was a very tough feeling. Yeah. And it was real powerful, and that's really what started it.